So today I'm going to teach you the 3 secrets to high ticket closing. Exactly how do you close that $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, even $30,000, $50,000 sale in one single phone call. Secret number 1, and that is never ever sound like a salesperson. Now, without thinking, very quickly tell me, when I say the word sales, what pops into your mind? If you're like most people, you will probably think about, oh, it's used car salesperson or snake oil or liars or scam artists, right? A lot of negativity comes to mind. When I say the word salesperson, what comes to mind? What's the image that do you have? Or maybe you've seen certain movies like, oh, well, those are the salespeople, they're trying to sell me, right?
I can't stop! Oh my God!
Do you validate?
No!
Okay, thank you.
They're trying to lie to me, they're trying to just go after my money. So whenever, if you sound and talk and act like a typical salesperson, it creates a lot of resistance. So one of the things I teach all my students, all my high-ticket closers is this. The first thing you never, ever, ever want to do is to talk like a typical salesperson or act like a typical salesperson. So let me ask you this. How does a typical salesperson talk? What do they sound like? How do they act? How do they communicate? What comes to mind? They talk fast, don't they, right? They have a lot of enthusiasm. They talk about that, oh, you gotta have a lot of energy, right? And they would push features and benefits on you without listening, without slowing down. And that's what a typical salesperson sound like. So the last thing you want as a high ticket closer is to sound anything like that at all. So you want to do what? The opposite. You want to do the opposite. So typical salespeople, they talk fast, they don't listen, you don't do any of that. You slow down, right? You don't close with your mouth, you close with your ears. You have to learn to be a good listener. So let me give you an example. Just the power of tonality. So think about this. Exactly the same line. So let's say when someone is calling you, when it's an inbound call, when there's a lead provided by an influencer, an entrepreneur, a company, people call you, and you say, I'm gonna give you a very simple line. All I'm gonna do is to vary my tonality. And you notice the difference, comment below and see if you can hear the difference. I'm gonna do it 5 different ways. I can probably do it 20 different ways, but in this video, I'm gonna do it 5 different ways. Now, first one, no filter, no thinking. What comes to your mind immediately? Comment below. First one. So what can I do for you? What comes to mind? What's your impression? What does that sound like? First one. Second one. So, what can I do for you? What comes to mind? That's the second one. What's the feelings? What are the emotions I am projecting? Now, same line. Third one. So, what can I do for you? That's a third one. Again, no filter, no thinking. What comes to mind? Here's the fourth one. So, what can I do for you? What comes to mind? How did that make you feel? Now, the last one. Just think. Listen very closly. So, what can I do for you? Do you hear the difference? Not too much, not too little, not too fast, just the right tonality. You see the difference that it could make just by varying your tonality with the same line, with the same sentence. And that's why high-ticket closing is a science, but it's also an art, right? It takes a little bit of practice. So, first secret, never ever sound like a salesperson. No, I'm not interested. Secret number 2, and that is the less you talk, the more you close. You see, one of the most common mistakes that salespeople make is what? They talk too much. In fact, they talk so much, they talk the prospects out of the sale. Sometimes, have you ever had this happen to you? You are ready to buy, you've already made up your mind to buy, but then the salesperson kept on talking and talking and talking. You're like, you know what? I don't have time for this. I gotta go. I'll come back. And then what? then the salesperson lost that particular sale. Very, very common. You see, one of the things that people believe, and it's a myth, that great salespeople, that they are always talking and they're always pushing, they're always trying to change how people feel about a certain subject or a product. That's not what we do. High ticket closing is all about asking the right questions at the right time with finesse. And there's so many different types of questions, right? You have open-ended questions, you have closed-ended questions, you have discovery questions, you have redirection questions. There's so many other questions because when you are talking, you're not listening. And I strongly believe this, that when you say something, it means something. When the prospect says something, it means everything. Meaning, even though you could say exactly what they need to hear or what they must hear, what they need to know, it's much more powerful when you step back and you ask the proper questions, the right questions, and extract the information out of them. And you make them say it instead of you saying it, right? And one of the things I teach, and my philosophy is a little bit different from other sales, quote unquote, trainers, where they talk about, oh, let me teach you 101 ways to close a prospect, right? Let me give you, 59 different ways to handle this objection. I don't really do that. My students don't really do that. I find that that's very, very difficult when you're trying to connect with someone on a phone, right? And you're so much in your head. Well, exactly what am I going to say and how I'm going to say it and do I say it in the right order? Am I using the right words? I don't like that kind of way of selling. It's just too difficult and there are too many things I have to memorize. I prefer to keep it very, very simple. My closing line is usually, hey, what would you like to do? Right? Where should we go from here? That is it. Because if I have done my job during the entire call, right? I've done my questions. I have discovered the prospect's pain. And remember, when there's no pain, there's no sale. When I've done that, the closing part, right? The saying yes part becomes a very logical, natural conclusion. I don't need to twist their arms and say, hey, do you want to buy it right now? Or the good old alternative close, right? Would you like it in blue or would you like it in red? You don't have to do any of that. And you don't want to do any of that. So remember, high ticket closing, it's about asking the right questions at the right time with finesse. High ticket closing secret number 3, and that is treat others the way that they want to be treated, not the way that you want to be treated. You see, one of the most common mistakes that salespeople make is they project their own values onto the prospects. But the truth is, you are not your customer. You're not your client. They don't think like you. But as a human being, very often we look at things and we view things through our own lens. We think that, well, if we don't think this way, we don't buy this way, then our prospects don't do the same, right? It's not true. You see, people buy not because they understand what you sell. People buy because they feel understood. I believe people are roughly divided into 4 different personality types. I call them gems because I believe every person is precious. There is no right or wrong. It's not one personality is better than the other. Everyone is like a little gemstone that when you understand that they have their strength, they all have their weaknesses as well, right? So let me share with you the 4 gem personality types. The first one is what I call a sapphire. A sapphire. Now, what does a sapphire sound like? Usually they're very loud, they're very animated, and they are motivated by fun. They want to have fun, they want to party, they're the life of the party, they connect with people instantly, right? They're always very animated. They talk with their mouth, sometimes maybe a bit too much. They're not very good listeners sometimes, but that's sapphire. They're motivated by having fun. And then you have what I call pearls. Now, pearls are motivated by helping others or by a cause, right? They want to help others. They always put other people first. And sometimes you notice when you're talking and connecting with a pearl that they're a little bit softer, they talk a little bit slower, they always want to listen to people, right? That's a pearl for you. And then you have what I call an emerald, which they are motivated by facts and figures, very precise. right? Very punctual. They like things a certain way, right? They're very good with numbers, right? They're very good with Excel spreadsheet. If that's you, comment below. Emeralds. And then you have what I call rubies. Rubies are motivated by money or a challenge, right? They are usually impatient, sometimes very impatient, right? Big picture, not super details. They want to get things done. Sometimes they bulldoze over other people because they're impatient. They're always thinking about go, kind of a type A personality, right? A lot of entrepreneurs are rubies. So if you understand the 4 gems, if you understand the personality type, if let's say you are a ruby, if you want to close and sell a pearl and you use your ruby personality and try to close a pearl, it does not work. When you understand the 4 gem personality types, when you can treat them the way that they want to be treated, it is like you have the infinity gauntlet here, right? You can unleash the power to connect, to influence other people when you can be all 4 personality types. That's what I'm talking about.